Bienvenidos, damas y caballeros. In this video, we're going to read a short story narrated by a soldier in Napoleon's Grand Army, describing the disastrous retreat from Moscow in 1812. Afterwards, we're going to analyze and understand 3 different use cases of the Pulperfect Subjunctive grammatical form. The story is called El Invierno de 1812. Let's get to reading. Yo era un soldadero en la Grande Armée cuando comenzó la retirada de Moscú en el otoño de 1812. El frío nos mordía los huesos y el hambre nos volvía más débiles cada día. Caminábamos por caminos interminables cubiertos de nieve, rodeados de cadáveres de caballos y compañeros que ya no podían seguir. Muchos entre nosotros murmuraban sobre lo que habríamos hecho diferente si hubiéramos previsto tal. Muchos entre nosotros murmuraban sobre lo que habríamos hecho diferente si hubiéramos previsto tal desastre. Algunos decían que si el emperador hubiera escuchado a sus generales más prudentes, tal vez habríamos evitado entrar tan profundamente en Rusia. Otros, como yo, pensábamos que si los rusos no hubieran destruido sus propias ciudades y provisiones, podríamos haber encontrado refugio y alimento para resistir el invierno. Al final, todo se reducía a la amarga reflexión de que si nosotros mismos hubiéramos previsto mejor la magnitud del frío y la distancia, no estaríamos marchando como espectros, soñando con volver a Francia. El invierno ruso no tuvo compasión, nos redujo a una sombra del ejército más poderoso de Europa. All right, so that's the story of the soldier in Napoleon's Grand Army describing the disastrous retreat from Moscow in 1812. Now, what we're going to do is analyze and understand the 3 different use cases of the Pulperfect Subjunctive. So we have the 3 different use cases highlighted in bold in different paragraphs. So first use case is hubiera escuchado. The second is hubieran destruido. And the third one is hubiéramos previsto. The first thing I want everyone to understand is the grammar, right? So the Pulperfect Subjunctive has a formula. It's the imperfect subjunctive conjugation of the word haber, which is hubiera, plus the past participle. And it is used to express unreal or hypothetical situations in the past. So some examples of this might be hubiera comido, hubiera estado, hubiera tomado, hubiera visto. The first thing I want to point out is the Pulperfect Subjunctive is the analog to the pluscuamperfecto in the indicative form. That's the form of grammar when you want to refer to a past event that occurred before another past event. This is the analog to that. Pulperfect subjunctive in the subjunctive mood. So we have a typical trigger. It's the C clauses when imagining what translates into what could have happened. What could have been the case if Napoleon listened to his generals? What could have been the case if they had better prepared for the Russian winter? Could they have actually won the war against Russia had they thought about their logistics a bit better? Now, the formula is as follows: si plus hubiera, or some other imperfect subjunctive conjugation of the word haber, plus the participle. So we saw that earlier. And the function here is to express regret, hypothetical alternatives, counterfactual conditions, like I just said, what could have been the case if Napoleon listened to his generals. So let's go back to the short story. Let's isolate this phrase of the sentence right here. Si el emperador hubiera escuchado a sus generales más prudentes, tal vez habríamos evitado entrar tan profundamente en Rusia. So here we see the formula. Si, if, si el emperador, si Napoleón, hubiera escuchado a sus generales more prudent. If Napoleon would have listened to his generals, more prudent generals, before entering Russia, then they would have entered Russia. It wouldn't have been disastrous. So that's why we're invoking the Pluperfect Subjunctive here, because we're referring to a past event that occurred before another past event. Had he listened before entering, and that's it. That's the first example. The second one is right here. Si los rusos no hubieran destruido sus propias ciudades y provisiones, podríamos haber encontrado refuge to better resist the winter. Again, we have that formula, si, if it were the case. Counterfactual, hypothetically speaking, si los rusos no hubieran destruido sus propias ciudades, if the Russians had not destroyed their cities with their scorched earth policy, that's like the past tense, then in the past tense, we could have entered Russia and found refuge and food and shelter and would have been able to brave out the winter. Again, this is a justified use of the Pluperfect Subjunctive because not only are we referring to the past entering Russia, but we're referring to something that occurred before this past event, which was the scorched earth policy of the Russian army. The third example is down here. Si nosotros mismos hubiéramos previsto mejor la magnitud del frío y la distancia, nos estaríamos marchando, no estaríamos marchando como espectros. If only, hypothetical, counterfactual. Again, that's the context here. Beyond the syntactical structure, we have the invoking a hypothetical, which we know is a trigger for the subjunctive mood. If we ourselves could have better predicted the magnitude of the Russian winter and the grand distance of marching from Paris to Moscow, we would not be marching like skeletons, dreaming of one day returning to warm Paris. Again, here we see two past tense events. Past tense, marching to Paris as skeletons. But before that, hypothetically, counterfactually, better predicting the severity of the Russian winter, right? That's why we got to use the Pluperfect Subjunctive. Yet again, we're not just referring to a past event, but we're referring to a past event that occurred before that past event. So event one, event two. That's it, damas y caballeros. If you like what we're doing here, let me know in the comment section. If you want to cover a different topic, cover a different grammatical form, cover different ways to express the same thing in different types of Spanish, such as Spain, Mexico, or Argentinian, I can do that as well. If you hate what we're doing here, you want to spread some hate into the world, I'll take your hate. But in the comments section, because it is engagement that drives the growth of any channel. So love or hate, I want to hear about it. Until next time, ciao, ciao.